What's up everyone, V here, and today I am really excited to be reviewing the Figuarts Spider-Gwen from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. A movie that, if you've seen my previous Spider-Verse reviews, you know I have kind of a love-hate relationship for. There's a lot of stuff I really like about it, but there's a lot of stuff that I feel like is holding it back from being a great movie that everyone, for some reason, is saying it is. But that's just me, and I've only seen it once, so who knows, maybe after a couple more rewatches it gets better. I mean, you never know, because Iron Man 3 I saw in the theaters, I came out the theater thinking that movie was trash. I was like, that was so disappointing, I don't care for that movie in the slightest. And after a bunch of rewatches, it's now like one of my favorite MCU movies, it's my favorite Iron Man movie, and I love it so much, so maybe that's what this movie will be, and maybe with Beyond the Spider-Verse, I'll come to appreciate this movie more. But there's a lot of stuff I really like, and I've gone more in depth on my complaints and everything in my previous Spider-Verse reviews, especially this one, Marvel Legends Spider-Gwen review. Go check out all of those. I did a 2099 Spot, Peter B. Parker, and Spider-Gwen. But yeah, spoiler alert, by the way. I mean, the movie's been out for a while. I don't even know if it's in theaters anymore. But I just wanted to throw it out there just in case I might slip something out there. But for all the complaints I do have with this movie, Gwen is probably the thing that I loved the most about the movie. We dived a lot. We dived? What? I didn't make the movie. They dived a lot into her character. And I really, I loved Gwen in the first film. But, this film made me love her even more. She's such a good, great character. Why can't her and Miles just be together already? My god. Hopefully nothing bad happens with her. I saw someone throw out the theory that she might die in Beyond the Spider-Verse, and I'm like, please don't. Please don't kill Gwen again. But yeah, love Gwen so much, and the reason why I even own this figure is because of the Marvel Legends. See, the Spider-Verse Marvel Legends are not the best. And I love Gwen, and I love her design, so I was just really wanting a Spider-Gwen figure, and I saw this figure, and I bought it, and I was so disappointed. Again, check out that review. That is not a positive review, because it was like right after I saw the movie, and I was really disappointed with the movie, and really disappointed with the figure, and I was like, man, this figure has so many problems. And then I kept seeing pictures of the Figuarts, and I was like, this figure looks like it solves every single problem I have with this figure. So I was like, you know what, I'll bite the bullet. I saw someone on eBay selling Gwen and Miles together, and also the Miles I feel like would have had a problem with for the Marvel Legends. So I was like, and I saw a lot of pics of this on Instagram, and I was like, I'm just gonna bite the bullet, $180. Seems like a really good deal to get the both of them. And I did it, and I have to say, I am so glad I did that, because I love this figure so much. Now, Miles is better, I will just say that right now. Miles is a lot better, because there are a couple things and quirks with this figure, but as it stands, at least in my collection, I only own 2 other Gwens, but this is by far the best Spider-Gwen figure I own, and I think is probably out on the market. Now, yeah, it's like $90, but I gotta say, it's one of those purchases where I'm like, it's pricey, but oh, damn, is it worth that price? The second I got her and Miles out of the boxes, I was just blown away. These figures are great. They're probably going to be in my top 10 figures of the year. And what better way to prove just how good this figure is than the pose I have her in right now? You cannot do that with the Marvel Legends. Look at that. You can't even get her legs crossed like that, let alone her standing like that. That just proves how great it is. And, of course, I'll be getting into why. Also, I got her standing like this perfectly in the Peter B. Parker video, I think. But for some reason today I was having a bit trouble, but you can still do it, and it looks great. And like always, before we get into the nitty-gritty details of the figure, we'll take a look at the box. And this is a tiny box. I was actually shocked, because she comes with a lot. So I was actually shocked at how small the box was, because bringing in a newer Marvel Legends box, oh, upcoming review, but like, just look at the size difference. And Miles does not come with as much. But yeah, might be tiny, but it does come with a crap ton of stuff. Got a nice cut window, SH Figuarts, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man Cross Spider-Verse. Bunch of random words. Nice shot of Gwen swinging around. Spider-Man Cross Spider-Verse. That sticker thingy, which I want to say proves that it's a real Figuarts. That's what was terrifying. I was terrified I was going to buy some knockoff, but this figure feels really solid, so I think it's an actual one. I hope to God. Yeah, I feel like knockoffs you can tell, but like, this figure's great. Bandai. Tamashi? I don't know what that one is. Marvel. Can you tell this is, I don't buy import figures a lot. These two, like Gwen and Miles, are like my first Figuarts I've ever owned. I did own one of those, like, I think it's like from Bandai, those like samurai type figures. I got like a samurai Iron Man, but that's the closest. These are like my first full-fledged Figuarts figures. But yeah, I got a nice shot of her, bunch of stuff at the bottom, nice side art. Oh, it's kind of like tampoed on there a bit. Figuarts, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man Cross Spider-Verse. New shot of her, same words on the back. Get a bunch of different shots of the figure and a bunch of warnings that I cannot read. But yeah, bringing Gwen in. She comes with a lot, and I mean a lot of accessories. Let's just put her off to the side. First off, she comes with a base. It's nice, it's pink. It's got Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse, and what I was going to say is, oh, Gwen's spider logo, because Miles has his. And then that's when I came to the realization that, oh my god, Spider-Gwen doesn't have a spider symbol on her at all. And I don't know why I never realized that, but yeah, I guess if she had a spider, this is what it would look like. You have different ports here to plug in the actual base, like, flight thingy. I have not been able to get it out. Maybe I'm just brain dead, but I could not get these things out. So you won't really be seeing the base in its full-fledged form, but if you came to this expecting a high-quality, top-tier review, you've come to the wrong place. Here at my channel, we do not make the best reviews, but we try to have fun. And it does come with this tool to pull it out. Like, pull out the things and pull out this thingy on her back, which I do think this could actually pull out, but I'm terrified I'm going to lose that. Because that's where the base, this thingy, would plug in. But you can also plug in a clip that can just grab her. It's got hinges, up and down rotation, up and down at the bottom. And it should plug in there, but I can't for the life of me get that out. Ooh, that came off. Just plugs back on. So yeah, that's the base. It's a base. She comes with a crap ton of web effects. She comes with hair. She comes with a smaller, like, shooting web. And this, actually, I'll demonstrate it on this one. You pop the hand out. Terrifyingly small joint right there, I might add. And I'm going to do this off camera because it's quite the tedious thing to get the hand on. But, oh, that's not on. Yeah, it is really difficult because, like, it articulates and it's also tiny. But got it. And I realized I had the web effect on wrong. But yeah, you put it around the wrists, and it looks like she's whipping some web. That's honestly, like, a really cool little feature that I never even thought of, like, just wrapping it around, like, the wrist. And this is the same for this one, but it's just a bit shorter. And it's got a lot of nice sculpt work and everything. And this one is just some giant long one, but it doesn't have a ring because if you grab one of her alternate hands, which is a grabbing hand, it is quite small. But it's got it's got all the nice detail painted in there. And you slide this thinner side in, and she can grab it and be swinging along. I'm not going to swap the hands because it is difficult. I do not like swapping the hands, and I am terrified that I'm a break it because look at them, tiny fingers, tiny wrist joint. But like I have for every Spider-Man, I like to have like some fist or like kind of open hand and then a thwipping hand on this side. So this is the hand she's going to live with. But for alternative hands, she does have some wall crawling hands. Try to vaguely get them in focus. But yeah, again, painted beautifully, and all of that webbing is actually sculpted. And it's got some nice texture on the white. I'll go over all that more when we get on the figure. Two of the swinging hands. Two just flat like palm running or slapping Miles because he looked like he was flirting with spider bite type of hands. And then of course the opposite, like relaxed hand and thwip hand. There's just a fuzzball. Where all these fuzzballs come from? It's because I have like a crap ton of cats and they chill in my room all the time. It's also why my Xbox broke. But yeah, again, nice sculpting and everything. Then she comes with some alternative heads. On her right now is like the normal masked style with the hood. But you can also get a more squinting mask. You can see all that beautiful texture on there. And you can see how they painted the eyes. It looks really good. You got some pink around there, some black outlining. Looks great. This is also the exact same type of head that they gave to just the Marvel Legends for its only masked head. Just look at how much better this is than the Marvel Legends. It's just insane. I'm not going to swap it because the head swapping is a bit difficult. But yeah, that was one of my main problems with the Marvel Legends, was that it had the worst alternative head. This thing, the sculpt looked atrocious, and putting it on the neck, it just was awful. Like, I almost broke her head off just trying to put it on. And I was like, why didn't they just give her like a head like this? And of course, Figuarts solved that problem. And finally, she comes with an unmasked head and a hood piece to put it on. And I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. You just pop that on there, line up the neck. I can tell it's the front is that it dips down in these two things. At least on mine. Should be on the side. And then you pop that in there and then cry because a train's heading past. I swear it's every single video I make, a train ends up going past at some point. I can't win. I believe we're good now. I live near train tracks, so if you've watched like any of my videos, you know at some point if there's a weird cut or pause, there's probably train tracks. It is what it is. But yeah, having the unmasked head, I kind of prefer her with the unmasked head. One of my main reasons why I bought the figure was so that I could have Gwen with a cool looking masked head, which I think is ironic now that having the figure, I kind of love her way more with the unmasked head. It looks so good. But yeah, because I will say the hood piece is one of the only issues I do have with this figure. This figure looks great. But bringing up all of my issues I have with the Marvel Legends, my main issues were, number one, the paint job. It's just a smooth sculpt with everything painted on. This one's fully unique sculpt, got texturing and everything on it. But, like, she had that awful unmasked head that didn't do good. The paint job is inaccurate. Like, you see how that's not accurately shaped and everything? And I feel like her articulation was lacking a bit. Like, you couldn't really get her in really dynamic poses with her articulation. But this figure solves every single problem I had with this figure. And even improved on things that I liked about this figure. Like, I loved this unmasked head, but this unmasked head is just phenomenal. Bringing it in for a closer look, because we have to. Let's zoom in there. Let's up the brightness a bit. Nah. Alright. Just look at that. That is phenomenal. That looks exactly like how she looks in the movie. Yeah, ignoring my camera quality, it's great. They decided to lean more into the animated feel, because here is a Hasbro's rendition, and they did really good. I will say they did really good. Ironically, even though they went more animated, the hair looks more realistic than her hair, because they did the photo reel, and I thought that looked great, but this just looks phenomenal. They really leaned into the animatedness, painting the eyes with like all the little animation marks, and even got like some marks next to the eyebrows. Kind of hard to see with this camera, but like it just looks great. And then you got her piercings up there. The shaved side of her head looks really good. And then you got like her hair sculpted really well, and you got the ends dyed pink. And the hood piece looks great too. It's got more of that beautiful sculpt like texture. Because yeah, another thing I loved about this figure and Miles is that, well, the Marvel Legends had it, but like the Figuarts on Miles does it better as well, is that it's not just a plain boring smooth sculpt like the Marvel Legends. It actually has like this beautiful texture throughout the entire thing, which I love. I love just figures with nice texture. I don't know why. It just adds more to the figure, and I love it. Also, if you're wondering what this weird seam is, it's actually because the back of her head comes off. I learned this surprisingly because I didn't look through any instructions, and that happened, and I was like, oh my god, what is going on? This is because you can actually put this head in the hood. This is when this tool will come in handy, because I use it to try to like push that up a bit and pull that out. Then you're going to want to just pop that, and you just basically slide that in there. It's not like perfect. I feel like I put it in a bit lopsided, but you can get her head in the hood, and it honestly doesn't look too bad. I feel like I didn't put it in the best, but I've posted some pics on my Instagram. So, oh yeah, Moonlight XO, drop a follow there. You can see some just fun pics I took of her, but I took some really good pics of her wearing a hood, and it looked really good. And yeah, it just adds so much more like posability and like different styles you can have with the figure. It's not too hard to get this out. You can just pull that out there, slide that back on. We'll be putting her masthead back on. You just slide that back in there and pop. But yeah, it just adds so much more like uniqueness to the figure, which I just love. So yeah, let's finally get into the details. I know I've been dragging on long enough, but this figure's just great. Okay, it's gonna be a long one. But yeah, that head sculpt looks great. The eyes use that same like pink with the black outline. Just adds so much to it and just makes it look way more like it's right out the movie. Is that another train? I can't win. But yeah, it just looks so good. And you got that beautiful texture throughout all the white and even the black on the suit. Come around the hood, you got a little seam going down the back. And on the inside, it is like where the blue web lines are, it's actually sculpted there and painted in very well. As opposed to the Marvel Legends, which they didn't even paint, at least on the hood down, they didn't even paint on the inside. And it's just painted in there as opposed to sculpt. Yeah, it's just, this figure's like so much better than the Marvel Legends. Coming down to her torso, you have the accurate like shape for the like, I don't know, what do you call this? Like spike thingies on the chest, which looks really good, and that texture is beautiful. It just looks so good. Coming down to well, the rest of her body got a slight indent for a belly button, I think. I don't know. But that's a detail. I don't know if it was necessary, but it's a detail. Then you got the white painted on the sides there. It's painted pretty well for just being straight up on black. And then come to the back where you have like that, which is also painted really well. And I do believe there's like a Sculpt line indent separating the black from the white as well, which is really good because the Marvel Legends, again, was just painted on, and again on the back was not painted well. So yeah, it was just nice just getting an accurate figure. Yeah, and that's where, of course, like I said before, you could pull that out, pop the stand in there, but I'm not gonna, because I feel like that's gonna fly out into the like negative realm and never appear again. So I don't want to risk it. It's because I don't care. I don't like pose my figures on shelves. I just grab them and I mess with them. So yeah, I don't really care. So, but that is a display option if you are so inclined to want to do so. Coming down to her arms, coming up, because I don't know. I'm saying ramblings now. But yeah, I got more of that beautiful texture coming down to her, how many times have I said coming down to? Jesus. But, to the, area where she has the, pink and blue webbing. Looks really good. It's painted perfectly within the sculpt and just looks great. And again, this is a slightly different design from the first movie. I think this area has changed a bit as well, but in the first movie she had it like in like this area and this was just white. So yeah, I didn't even realize that until I was messing with like the basic figure and realized that she had sculpt there, that they even changed the design at all, because it's such a subtle difference. But I don't know which one I prefer, because I do like the webbing down there. Then come down to her legs, and this is another like only type of like complaint I have, is that this is not the nicest transition. It just goes oh ooh 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 ooh. The Marvel Legends does do it a bit better. It's a lot smoother with the silhouette, but still, I'll take this like kind of awkward indent for just a miles better figure. But yeah, there's nothing much going on with her legs. It's just legs and a lot more of that beautiful texture, which looks really good. And another great thing about the texture is when it catches the light on the edges, it looks like the animated style, which just looks really good. Come down to her shoes. They do have this like separate little piece that goes around, painted really well. There's like a hole in the joint there, which is kind of strange, but it is what it is. And you got her shoes, which are painted really well and got some nice sculpting on the bottom. So yeah, sculpt-wise is a phenomenal figure, but let's get into articulation, which is where she excels, except for the hood. Because removing the hood, you see that it has the sculpt piece for the neck. That means that you cannot really get to phenomenal articulation. You can look down about that far, look up about that far, but it's really hindered by that. I mean, you can still rotate and just move the head regardless of it, but it definitely hinders the articulation you're going to get. But with the unmasked head, it is way more free, so you can get her looking down really far as well. And the hair doesn't really get in the way either. She does have a interesting joint, I don't know how to describe it, on the arm, which can move up that far. And it does like shifts up and down. There is a butterfly joint as well, which is really nice. And again, is sculpted really well. And you can also kind of rotate it, I think. I don't know, I'm not sure. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. One thing I do have to say about the elbow is that this piece comes out from underneath there. And when you're trying to bring it back, sometimes it kind of gets caught there, and it does eat away at that a bit. But honestly, it doesn't bother me too much. Then you got one of these joints, which is like, you can rotate it and rotate that, and then you can get like different things. It's what McFarlane uses, and I hate how McFarlane uses it, but SH Figuarts actually does it really well, and even though it's tiny, I'm not scared of breaking it. This is like literally what McFarlane figures wish they could be. Yeah, me trying to go one video without slandering McFarlane figures for 5 seconds. But yeah, then you get to a diaphragm joint, and then a lower diaphragm joint. I don't know how to describe it. But you can get her moving that far forward, that far back, really nice arching. You can go side to side really well. I'm not trying to jack up her whole flow. You can move the legs that far forward because they do drop down. You can do some really good splits, and you can't really kick back too far because her ass is in the way. But yeah, and it's kind of a thigh swivel there. It's a little terrifying. I don't know if it was her or Miles, but I did accidentally pop the leg off, so I would be a bit careful with that. Then you got a nice double jointed knee. Then that same type of joint, I think. There is a rocker on there, which I didn't even know, but it hinges up and down, rotates, and has a rocker, and a nice little toe joint to add on top of that. So yeah, her articulation is just phenomenal. You can get her in some really, really great poses. But, like, yeah, you can get her into, like, some really cool, like, Spidey poses where you can, like, bring the legs up, leg out like that. Don't want to break it. I have been able to, like, bring it forward a bit to where she looks down a decent amount. You can kind of get her in, like, a really nice, just generic Spidey pose like that. But I actually think she thrives more on just natural poses. Like, I just took a bunch of pictures of her in just natural, like, human poses. Like, just her with, like, the legs crossed, arms crossed, like, have her just leaning against a wall or something like that. And it just looks so good. Like, all those little, like, extra added articulation joints just add so much more, like, realism to the poses that even just putting her in some generic boring pose just looks so good. This is a phenomenal figure. I cannot recommend it enough. Like, even with its flaws with, like, the neck joint, which, I mean, you might be able to cut that bottom neck piece out to get better articulation. I don't know. That's the one thing the Marvel Legends did better. You can actually just look down because it's just that. But, like, I would take this over this any day of the week because that head's trash. But it's like, yeah, it's just like, it's such a good figure. Now for some comparisons. Here she is next to an average Marvel Legends scale figure, Moon Knight. Next to an average Star Wars, and almost forgot. Transformer. Voyager, here she is next to Camino Trooper and Shockwave. And for some 7-inch scale comparisons, here she is next to a McFarlane DC and Jazzwares Halo, Master Chief, and the Flash. You can tell she is definitely not in scale, but she is in scale with, like, Marvel Legends, especially the animated ones, since the animated style has some a lot of different scaling. But for fun, here she is next to another Haley Steinfeld Marvel character, and Kate Bishop, which is a great figure. And now I finally have 2 phenomenal figures of Haley Steinfeld's characters in Marvel, which is awesome. And for some Spideys, we're just gonna do a quick draw of some Spideys. Here she is next to Andrew and Toby, because why not have Andrew next to a Gwen? And yeah, they look really good together, and since that movie proved and showed that live action and animation in the multiverse just goes together, you can actually have these figures next to each other, which is really cool. Also, go check out my review of that No Way Home 3-pack. It's another long one, but definitely love it. Here she is next to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and that Miles from that Gamerverse? box that I showed earlier, which I will be reviewing soon. Here she is next to some Spider-Verse figures. The Spot and 2099. Cannot wait for that Figuarts 2099. That looks phenomenal. Because that 2099 is also a figure I've had some complaints with. And finally, well, not finally, I do have two other ones, but I've kind of showed them already. Here she is next to that Figuarts Miles and Marvel Legends Peter B. Parker. They look great together. And now finally, here she is next to that basic figure Gwen and that Marvel Legends Gwen. So, I know this was a pretty long one, but to be fair, she has a lot going on. Like, a lot of articulation, a lot of accessories. This is overall a phenomenal figure. I cannot recommend it enough. This is probably the best Gwen you're gonna get. Unless... I can't even say unless Hasbro makes a good one, because Hasbro can make a phenomenal one, but I doubt it's reaching the level of this figure. Like, the amount of just poses you can get this figure in, and it just looks great. It's like... it's just phenomenal. Like, this is a great figure. And there's only, like, the things that hold it back are just such nitpicks at that point. Because it's a phenomenal figure. I highly recommend it. Yeah, it's like $90, but it is well worth that $90. I've spent the same amount of money on worse figures. I spent $80 on the OG Amazing Spider-Man 2 Marvel Legends Spider-Man, and that figure's hot trash. So yeah, not my baby boy, though. This figure's amazing. But yeah, this is definitely contender for like top 5 even figures of the year. It's just great. Highly recommend it. So that's about it. Like, subscribe, check out my previous reviews. We have a crap ton of Spider-Man. We've basically been doing Spider-Man for the past month. That didn't come out right. But yeah, and I have some more I did a couple Transformers reviews and threw in some DC. We'll try to get more Flash and Rise of the Beast reviews out soon as well. But yeah, next review will definitely be Miles or Miles. It'll be a Miles, just debating on which one. Most likely the Figuarts. But yeah, this figure's great. Highly recommend it. Also, like I said earlier, check out my Instagram, MoonNetX, so you get like little teasers for upcoming reviews, just fun posts I do, some art, can talk to me there. And you can just see some like really cool pics I took of the figures. Because I have taken a lot of pics of this figure, because it is awesome. So that's about it. Hope you have a glorious day, and don't, I don't know, fall down a clock tower and die like Gwen did. Peace.